Okay, welcome back to Master Guitar, where you can learn to master guitar. My coffee is dead. Okay. Anyway, we're taking a quick look at one of the DAWs I have on my computer. DAWs, as you know, is Digital Audio Workshop, or maybe you didn't know that, but it's Digital Audio Workshop. And I'm got my new keyboard controller, the Impact GX61 by Nectar, plugged in. I should have a little video description there that will tell you where it is. So this is Bitwig. It came as an option to download. It comes with a license. If you buy the Impact 61, you get to try out Bitwig. This is an 8-track version, so I'm limited to 8 tracks on this. At my biggest on my album, I think I had 24 tracks. So Bitwig probably isn't going to cut it, but I'm trying to give it a little trial and just see how it works. So basically what I did is I plugged in my controller, and Bitwig already is working. I don't think I installed the plugin to get the Impact to work with Bitwig yet, but it's already recognizing it. It's already using it. And so yes, you can change the colors of the tracks, but you can't change this part. So it's just a little tab over here. So whatever that is what it is. And this is my audio. I don't know why I have that out. It doesn't seem to be doing anything. This is the DSK, the Grand. It's a grand piano. And that's basically, just me sitting here pinging away at it. So I didn't like the reverb that's on here. When it comes to reverb, everything by Cure House Audio is pretty much stuff I like. So I'm going to use Cure House Audio for almost everything. I like all their plugins. Their plugins are fantastic. So remember, I've never learned to play piano. So DSK made a lot of really good free VSTs. This is one of them. You'll notice that some of them create what's called an SEM file. An SEM file is something that the VST creates, and unfortunately, if you use certain antivirus look at SEM files and they think it's a virus. So they will actually try to shut down your VSTs if it creates an SEM file. So far, I haven't had any problems with the Grand. The settings in it are unaltered. I turned up the level all the way. I've got, here's how it shows up my VSTs. Down here is the Grand, and I've got over here this is my collections of VSTs, and there we go. Now I've got everything back. Thank you. That was a little stressful. All right, so you can basically open anything you want and record it. This is Bitwig, and again, you get 8 tracks for free when you buy the Impact controller. You'll get a little license card that will give you a serial number, and you put this in when you're So you'll put this serial number that I've got covered up here into the website. And it gives you a license. You sign up for an account, it gives you a license, and it's automatically seeing my Impact controller. The Impact controller, if you watch the other video on the Impact controller, it'll show you that it's got controls to activate the DAW. So you can, recording in your DAW, you can actually just hit the record button and it should start recording. See, there it is. I am actually recording. And here we go. So it recorded very briefly. Now I can play back everything that I just had. So I should be able to play. I should be able to rewind it. Stop. Rewind. See, that works. Play. if you're wondering how I'm doing it all on the keyboard, and it's got a loop function. So if I need to do an overdub spot correct something, I hit it on loop, and that way I can play it like 14 times before I finally get it right. Okay, and then save the one take that I wanted to have. So a very useful feature. From what I'm seeing, Bitwig is kind of a loop oriented for people who want to drag and drop. So I'm not sure I'm going to keep it. DAWs are very subjective. You find, you need to have the workflow that works with you. Now, someone may look at this and go, that's perfect. That's exactly everything I'm looking for. I just want to create the stuff, throw it in there, but I tend to like a traditional DAW that's going to look more like, Cakewalk. Cakewalk and Reaper seem to be almost cousins. Which one's better? At this point, I'm leaning a little bit towards Cakewalk, but, there was a couple of complaints I had about Cakewalk, but then I found out I just hadn't played with it long enough to find out what it was. I couldn't find any of my synth VSTs, and I was like, why can't I find it? Well, it's because you're not clicking on the right button to look for it. So, there you go. I tend to like small hall or empty hall. Go through I'll show you this is how you find all your various. So I had to find this. How do I find how to control what setting I'm using on here? So there's a small club, grand hall, small hall. What these sends are is this will send my reverb to another channel. So if I want to maintain clarity on the direct sound of the DSK, the grand VST, which is probably a smart way to do it. I did a lot of stuff like that with Reaper because I learned how to patch out sends into other channels, and then why that's a good idea. But with an 8-track, as you can see over here, it says 8-track. It's not a good option. That's the kind of thing when you've got a license for a 24-track, you'd use that. Bitwig is a little expensive, but if you're really good at structuring loops and etc., you might want to consider this as your personal DAW. But like I said, at this point, I would have to play with this a lot more before I decided on it. And I'll throw up a video on that later to tell you, did Bitwig survive the cut or not? At 8 tracks, and only an 8-track license, I would have to spend, I think it is, another $99 to get up to the 16-track. And I don't know how many it would be to get up to the 24-track. Now, my last album, I really was going overboard on guitars and such like that. In RiffWorks, I ended up recording, I think I ended up recording probably, I don't remember how many, I think it maxes out at 16 tracks. So I was having to record a lot of double and triple takes and such like that. And then I would move it over to Reaper and add in 8 tracks of keyboards and such like that, and sometimes I was able to bump and mix down tracks just to be able to try to get more in there. And that's something you learn when you first get RiffWorks, because you can get the RiffWorks 4-track for free, and then you learn how to start bumping tracks so that way you can take full advantage of it. Okay, we're going to combine the bass and the drums and such like that. Anyway, brief review. So you just need to learn how to get in here and start poking around at stuff. And again, I've only had it very briefly, only a couple of days. Really haven't poked with it much. I've been more working Cakewalk, trying to find out how to make Cakewalk more like Reaper, because I might be getting rid of Reaper. We'll see. I've got a lot of work in it, and that's the only thing that's stopping me right now, because I'm starting to learn how to work with Cakewalk, and I would rather use Cakewalk than Reaper because, So, Reaper is not free, Cakewalk is free. And Cakewalk was an industry standard. I know right now they say Pro Tools is the industry standard. That's an old claim. And don't let anyone tell you what DAW to use. Don't let anyone tell you what DAW not to use. I like RiffWorks for writing my songs. And then I want to port them all over to Cakewalk. And I may end up getting, they've got another, instead of the RiffWorks Instant Drummers, they have a similar effect, but something like that, a controller that you can do with something like Cakewalk is they have the other drummer program they have, which is a lot more drummers. And so if I could find that I could port over all of my, because I have a lot of instant drummers that I bought, and I don't want to buy something new that Riffworks is selling. So that's basically it. This probably isn't the DAW I'm going to go for, because if I had to, I would have to spend another $100 on it. And if I had a few $100s to throw around, possibly more, it might be a couple $100 to get this thing up to 24 tracks. And I don't know if it goes any higher than that. But if I had that kind of money to be throwing around, I'd probably just stick with Cakewalk or Reaper, whichever. I still haven't made up my mind which I'm going to use of the two. If I can get as good with Cakewalk as I was with Reaper, then I will definitely be getting rid of Reaper and just sticking with Cakewalk. Learning how to automate and stuff like that. I was very good at learning how to auto pan, stuff like that, pinging tracks. I was very good at generating a 60 cycle tone and putting a compressor on it, so that way you get the boot, boot, boot sound every time the bass drum will kick, and the side chaining that created the heavy thum, 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 thum bass drum sound that I had on my album. And that's how I was doing it. So I basically put the compressor on, I put a noise gate, so side chained it over to the side, put a noise gate on it, set it the threshold to the point where it would only trigger on that channel if it was at the volume of the bass drum, of the 60 cycle tone. So the 60 cycle wouldn't play unless the bass drum or low toms were hitting that doom, 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 doom. So you'd hear the 60 cycle cut in at the same time. And it's a standard trick. Some people are trying to tell you not to do it anymore. I love that sound, and that's what I need for my music. You don't always have to have that, but that's something I need. So anyway, we'll talk more about DAWs and studio tricks, because it's all stuff that as a guitar player you're going to have to learn how to do. Okay, all right. Remember, hit like, subscribe, comment. Helps the search engines to find us, YouTube to find us, get more people following us. And maybe soon I can get sponsorships and perhaps, be able to have better equipment. I would love for Behringer to sponsor me. Behringer, if you want to give me one of everything, I'd be excited. I would be beyond excited. I'd be showing off Eurorack stuff and introducing guitar players to having Eurorack synths. I'd be showing people how to do the Crave, or the what I would like to get from them would be the Poly D, the DeepMind, and of course the 2600. And if I had my druthers after that, well, one of everything would be awesome, but I know I can't have that. So I'd also love to get an Odyssey. And if I ever get any of the Behringer synths, is it Behringer or Behringer? If I ever get a Behringer, I'm going to explain why I'm so crazy about owning the classic synths, and especially ARP stuff. And we'll talk more about that later. See ya. Bye.